Ach du Liebe, I've got the problem with the mower. The spindle was freezing up. So, project today, fix the mower. Get the spindle and get it cleaned up and back on that grass road. Well, mostly weeds. Time to replace all the spindles and these parts, the belt and all that. So we take it apart, totally refurb the deck, paint the underside, the top side, get her cleaned up. We bought this mower in 2012. It's been an excellent mower. I've not had any problem. I don't see any fractures, cracks, anything, and I have been hard on this thing. Basically, this has been functioning as a brush hog as well as a mower because I'm finding it's just too steep here to really use my tractor and the brush hog. I'm actually looking, I'll probably sell my brush hog because I'm realizing there's just no places that I can really brush hog with it here where I can't get the mower in. The mower's quicker, easier, safer, the whole deal. So anyway, I'm really pleased with it, and I'm glad to get this thing cleaned up and working well again. Similar trick for getting the bolt off on the other spindle. Where there's tools, there's a way. I had to resort to the impact wrench, excuse me. But yeah, kind of you see bolted a wrench in there to keep this thing from spinning. Of course, tried to spin it off using the blade, and it just spun the attachment at the blade right off. So anyway, this is working. Interesting thing with the spindles. This is aluminum, and the new one, there's no threads in there. And in fact, these things in the aluminum, the steel is frozen in there, and so when I use the impact driver, it just broke these guys right off. So two of them just sheared them right off. Kind of hoping on reusing these spindles. I had an idea what to use them for. And yeah, I know I can get that out of there. We'll see. But it bothers me that the new ones aren't threaded. I'm going to, now the bolts with sufficient effort might thread in there. I kind of doubt it, so I'm going to have to thread these suckers before I put them in. Not happy about that. Mower deck disassembled. Everything taken off, and starting to scrub her up. On the underside I'll scrub and then actually grind. Actually, it's a abrasive wheel. I'll take it down, pretty much bare metal. There we go. Okay, it's called the Black Hawk. Strip disc. I like these, they last quite a while. Buy a bundle of them on Amazon or eBay. Okay, so you see I ground all the major rust out of it. Yeah, you can still see some. It's not like ground all the way down to bare steel, which would remove a lot of extra steel. So I'll take it in there, wipe her down with alcohol again, hit her with some rust converter, and after that dries, we're ready for paint, and then deal with the other side, which doesn't need the rust converter. Okay. Out of here with the handy Makita. Get some painting done. Okay, the underside of the deck has been shot with rust reformer. Rust reformer. I found it works pretty good. I've had some really rusty parts like on my truck and other places that it's just stopped the rust. I've been able to, without having to grind it all the way down to bare metal, leave a little bit, grind off what I can easily. Normally, if you got a little layer of rust in there, you use conventional paint, the rust just seems to continue underneath the paint, and then the paint peels off. I'm not sure what this converts the rust to. I should look whether it converts it to black rust from... there's two different forms of iron oxide. The red kind of rust is what we normally think of, and then there's the black kind of rust on iron. Black kind of rust what we often call scale. When it comes to mill scale, for example, when you buy some steel, usually forms under higher temperatures. That's enough of that. Woohoo! And by the way, keep things ventilated. So I open the front and the back. We got a breeze blowing outside, so gets it going. If there's no breeze, I put a fan and start driving the air from one end to the other. I got a really big fan. Really big fan. Rust reformer's dry. Now I'll shoot a little gray on it. RH here, talking about lawnmower blades. Sorry for the inverter noise in the background. It's a sunny day. Anyway, I've got some Oregon. Got some new blades for the lawnmower, and these are from Oregon brand, and I'm really quite impressed. Now here's the standard ones. You can probably see just right there between the two of them. So the Oregon blades are slightly wider, but they're also thicker. The original blades are 1/8 of an inch thick. These are 1/16 of an inch more than that, so 3/16 of an inch thick steel. Very nicely made, very nicely protected. Beautiful blades. Now this one's been, obviously this isn't a new one here, this has been reshaped, but I was going by the width and the thickness. So I'll definitely be looking for those in the future when I have to buy new blades. In the process of getting the spindles, new spindles put on this, on the lawnmower. Waiting for some paint. Mrs. RH is picking up some paint so I can get this, finish painting this. Ran out of gray. Okay, so the deck's ready to be flipped over and work on the other side. Yeah, actually underneath these pieces here, I noticed they filled up with a lot of debris in here, which gets wet and cause rust. So I put some mastic up underneath these pieces before I put them on there, just to kind of fill in that gap, kind of prevent moisture items from getting in there. Yeah, that's the blades. Boy, they spin really nicely. New bearings are wonderful. You will note, despite what some people say online, that these don't have to be synchronized. You know, they won't collide into each other. Many times they'll tell you have to have them set like this. I'm not sure for balance whether that's really right or whether they should be like that. Interesting. Don't know. Maybe I'll try them set like that at some point. See if it reduces vibrations at all. Anyhow, this is ready to go. I do realize that I'm going to have to back out some of these screws holding the spindle, because I forgot about these brackets that go in there. Let me get some paint on these, get them cleaned up, and get those installed. So I'm cleaning up parts to put on the other side of the deck today. Little video here on the front guard for the lawnmower. Pretty thin piece of sheet metal here. Not even a 16 finish. I don't know what gauge it is. But... Okay, here's the previous guard for this thing. And I pulled this thing off 3 or 4 times and had to bend it back. It just gets like folded up in the middle. You know, we got a lot of brush and stuff like that kind of whack into. So I want to protect the new one a little bit. So I made some, there's just some 1/8 of an inch pieces of steel. Just bent them the right curve to match the corner there, and I'm riveting them in place. Hopefully that'll provide some extra protection so this thing won't bend quite so easily. So a pretty simple task. Okay, the deck is ready to reattach. It was easier to work on at reassembling it up here than obviously underneath on the ground. So now it's ready to go under there. The output chute hasn't been attached because it's going to kind of be in the way when I do the install. So now the trick is get this underneath there without scratching it all up. And it's heavy, so I will have to be careful about that, getting it dinged on the ground. I could use your help here. You want to grab that end of it? Oh yeah, there we go. Joys of working alone. Okay, I think I found a way to get this on there without scratching it all up. It's a little creepy. Let's get to it. Okay. Hopefully it's got enough space under everything. Okay, the mower's almost back together again. The deck's all in there. Worked out, took a little more finagling than I expected. Got it adjusted. And I'm putting on the front bumper. Never liked the bolts in the front. They really aren't the right ones. That's what they started with. But it's supposed to have carriage bolts. Coming in on the side. It's always a struggle to try to get a wrench in there for those. So I'm going to get some carriage bolts. And I can button the rest of this up. Get it out of here, then put the chute on it, and get to mowing. All right. Okay, the work is done. Yeah, sure would look better with new tires, but these are still working. Anyway, it looks much better, runs smoother. Deck's running, working nicely. It looks good, so yeah, I'm pleased. Yeah, the front guard thing is much better. The other one was all bent out of whack, so this one fit perfectly. Some adjustments, replace some bolts here and there, so nice. It's together. Yeah, this lawn needs it. You get on it. RH here, signing off. Another project signed off the list. I stood what I can, and I can't stands no more. Gotta go. I've been looking at this thing, driving me crazy. Now that the lawnmower is all taken care of, I'm gonna get this dude painted up. It's not gonna help my homesteading, but sure will feel better to have this thing looking like a real tool.